Okay, you guys, 2020 is here, and we know you're planning your magical Disney vacations. So it's our job here at DFB Guide to make sure you know the greatest places to eat when you're there. Now, we love lots of restaurants in Disney World for lots of different reasons, but we're going to share with you several of our favorites here to hopefully help you in your decision making for this year. Let's get started. Okay, I get asked all the time, almost every day, hey AJ, what's your favorite restaurant in Disney World? My answer is always the same. It changes every day because the Disney World restaurants change all the time. They have new chefs. New chefs are brought in usually every couple of years, new cast members and servers, new menus. The only thing consistent about Disney World restaurants is that they're inconsistent. I say that all the time. But that said, there are still a few restaurants that continue to be great when we go. And those are the ones we're going to share with you today, and a few extras that are coming in this year that we think are going to be excellent, or at least you're going to have to try because they are incredible new additions from an Imagineering perspective. So we're going to share with you, I believe 14, I think we're at 14 now, restaurants that we started with 10, but we kept adding more that we want to share with you for your 2020 vacation. First up, I know, I always have to say it, Cinderella's Royal Table. Now, before you leave me a comment about how Cinderella's Royal Table is not a good restaurant, the food's not good, they rush you through the meal, I know they do that, but this is in Cinderella Castle, you guys. And so if you're a first timer at Disney World, if you have a little prince or princess, this is one of the most epic experiences you can have in Walt Disney World because a lot of people don't realize you can go into that castle. So it is located in Cinderella Castle, but reservations do fill up fast for this one. So you're going to want to book in advance, really far in advance. But remember, you do have to pay in advance as well. So you're going to have to lay down some serious credit card dollars to book that in advance and be sure not to miss that reservation. If you aren't going to be able to go, be sure to cancel it within that cancellation deadline, which is usually a day or two, I think, for this one. Now, the food is adequate here, and it's actually getting better. It's a lot better than it was 3 or 4 years ago. But what you're really paying for here is going to be the experience. You're going to go in the castle. You're going to walk up those red carpeted stairs. You're going to walk into this incredible dining room that really does look like you're inside a castle. As cynical and sarcastic as I am, it really does look like you're inside a castle. And I stand by my belief that every Disney fan or every Disney newbie should experience this at least once. Now, prior to entering the castle, you get to meet Cinderella in the waiting chamber. And then once you're in the restaurant, you get to meet a bunch of princesses. Usually we see Sleeping Beauty, Jasmine, Belle is there sometimes, Snow White's often there, Ariel. So that's kind of the vibe you're going to get and the people that you're going to meet. Now, you also get a few little freebies. You get a wishing star, a sword, or a magic wand. You get a couple of extra little freebies along with your meal. Now, remember, if you're looking for a royal experience, but you don't quite want to spend that much, you can consider Akershus over in the Norway Pavilion in Epcot, where you again get to meet a bunch of princesses. You're still in a castle. It's just not as grand, but it's a little less expensive and you don't have to pay everything in advance. But yes, the downside to Cinderella's Royal Table, you do have to pay in advance, and they do tend to rush you through because of the way that they seat the restaurant. They bring a group in, and then they all meet the princesses while they're dining, and then they kind of clear all those tables, turn the tables, and bring in another group. It used to be that the characters just sort of came around to everybody and the tables were seated the way normal restaurants seat tables, but that's kind of not how they do it anymore. They just bring people in groups. So you'll see that subtly happening when you're there. And when you see that everybody else is sort of cleared out and you're the last people there, they're going to want to get you out of there pretty quickly. So they do try to turn those tables really fast. So just a heads up on that. If you want to take your meal a little bit more slowly, you can tell your server that, but their kind of goal is that they're on a timeline. All right, next one, Space 220. This is a brand new restaurant that is probably going to open in February of 2020. We're not 100% sure yet. You can't book advanced dining reservations at the moment, at least when I'm recording this, you can't. But this is one of those ones that even though we're not sure what the food's going to be like, I think from an Imagineering perspective, everyone's going to want to see inside this one at least once. Now, this is a space-themed restaurant, and what they're saying is that this dining adventure will transport diners 220 miles above the Earth. So guests will board an elevator that will simulate real-time rocketing into orbit as they travel to a space station hovering above Earth. In the restaurant, diners are going to see daytime and nighttime views of Earth as they're surrounded by a full panoramic view of space. Now, currently, all we know about the menu is that it is internationally inspired, but interestingly, Disney just changed their Space 220 page to say American cuisine. So, I don't know. We'll see. Anything can happen. This place is run by the Patina Group, who run Via Napoli, all of the Italy restaurants in Epcot, all those Italian restaurants over in Disney Springs, like Enzo's Hideaway, Maria and Enzo's, the Edison. They also run several downtown Disney restaurants. So they're very strong in the Italian arena. So we're going to see what's happening. You know, behind the scenes, they had a executive chef lined up. He went back to a different location. So now we have a new executive chef de cuisine. So anything can happen here. Everything's up in the air, but I do think it's still going to be an interesting restaurant to try out. They're also going to have a lounge there, so you can check that out too. And we do think this one is going to fill up fast once those reservations open. So keep an eye on Disney Food Blog, join our newsletter. We'll let you know as soon as those reservations open so you can book yours. All right, I'm going back to an old favorite. I know you guys are going to comment on this. Le Cellier. This has been one of my favorites for so many years, you guys. So I got to include it in this list just from the perspective of if I was going to book someplace to eat in Disney World, I would probably book Le Cellier. This is in the Canada Pavilion of Epcot. Consistently a very popular dining destination. Used to be the restaurant you could not get a reservation for. No longer, now that they've upped the prices, made this a 2 credit on the Disney dining plan, it's relatively easy now to get a reservation here. But it is still one of my favorites. It's open for lunch and dinner. And classic favorites here are that Canadian cheddar cheese soup, the pretzel bread, all of the steaks. This is essentially a steakhouse. And of course, their poutine. They've got several different poutine options on their appetizer menu. Adults can be sure to sample some of that Canadian ice wine, one of my favorite things. And I think when I was 21 years old, what I asked my parents for Christmas was a bottle of ice wine. They drove up to Niagara Falls and got me some ice wine. And that's a super sweet wine made from frozen grapes. So they produce very small quantities of it, and it's only available for a short period of time. So it's really expensive. But they do have an ice wine flight at Le Cellier to try. And again, year after year, Le Cellier remains one of those fantastic dining experiences. But note that it is a heavy dining experience. So it is going to be steak and heavy soup and poutine, which is French fries and gravy. And so it's going to be a heavier dining experience, which is sometimes hard to manage when you're in a theme park, especially in the middle of summer. So plan ahead for that. Either book it late at night, the last thing you're going to do in the park, or something like, or maybe in a cooler season. You know me, I'll eat a big steak anytime, but sometimes it may be easier if you're planning on getting in 10 miles that day to not kind of open your park experience with Le Cellier. Okay, also in Epcot, we're going to talk about a brand new restaurant, Kumite. Now, Kumite was a new addition to the Japan Pavilion of Epcot in July 2019. The name means House of the Artisan and is inspired by Japan's natural beauty. The whole restaurant is. It's a signature dining restaurant, and by that I mean as signature as it gets, y'all. This is going to be a 2-hour dining experience, if not more. If you get that omakase menu, it may be even longer. So again, strange thing to have in a theme park, but if you are a regular visitor to Epcot, or if you're looking for something extraordinary to celebrate an anniversary or something like that, this could be the perfect option for you. The atmosphere here is really next level. It's beautiful, quintessential Japanese atmosphere. And depending on what you order, it has the potential to be the best meal you've ever had. The menu includes appetizers, main courses, sashimi, maki sushi, nigiri, and desserts. In addition to the main menu, there's also that omakase tasting menu, $130 per person, and an optional beverage pairing for $75 per person. It's important to note, Kumite is only open in the evening, so keep that in mind when planning out your booking. And you must book in advance because reservations are hard to come by. Walk-ins are going to have trouble finding a seat. All right, next we're going to go down home again, over to Homecoming. This is another one of those that I would book on every Disney trip if I could, which I hope is a compliment. This is helmed by celebrity chef Art Smith. It's called Homecoming because he is a Florida native, and so he's coming home to Florida to start this restaurant. It is in Disney Springs, and Chef Smith has created a truly southern, over-the-top menu. Definitely get the fried chicken, church lady deviled eggs. That moonshine cake is amazing. He's got a great pecan pie. And I, of course, love that hummingbird cake. Oh my goodness. It's a prime spot for anyone that wants to enjoy some great drinks. They got lots of great moonshine drinks and consistently yummy comfort food. The brunch here is really good as well. And I have to compliment the service here. The servers are all amazing. They're wonderful. The managers here are great. I truly love coming to this restaurant, not just for the food, but also for the experience that the cast members create. So kudos to you guys. They do a great job. All right, now let's head over to Animal Kingdom Lodge for Jiko. This has been on my best of list a couple of times in the past few years, but it's back up at the top at this point. It is consistently delicious and even a little bit exotic, so it's definitely something you want to try if that's what you're looking for. It's always been one of my top picks for a romantic date night restaurant. The only thing that I warn you about is that they do have banquet seating, which I hate when I'm on a romantic dinner date. I don't want to sit very close to Ken and Nancy or whoever is next to me. I don't want to be involved in their conversation. So if you are going for a date night, be sure to ask for your own table versus banquet seating. I don't know, maybe that's just me. I don't like to be that close to other humans. Maybe you're cool with it. But I just want to, if I'm having a date, I want to be like with the person I'm with. You know what I'm saying? So some of our favorite menu picks from this one include the filet of beef served over that mac and cheese. Now, it's not always served over the mac and cheese on the menu, but you can always ask for the mac and cheese. And it's really funny now, you guys, because now when the servers seat you, some of them will actually say that the filet of beef is the most popular thing on the menu. And yes, you can still get it with the mac and cheese. So if that's your thing, if you're old school Jiko, or if you're looking for something that those of us who are old school Jiko really like, consider that. We also love their braised short ribs. If they've got Wagyu or elk on the menu, grab that. Really good stuff. Now, if you're staying at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, we'd recommend signing up for the Wanyama Safari, which takes you around the savannah at the resort and culminates in a private dinner at Jiko. But if you're not staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge, this can be a little bit of a trek to get over to AKL. It's kind of out of the way of everything. So give yourself plenty of time to get over there. Take a minivan or a taxi or a rideshare or something like that to get over there, so you're not kind of on a bus for an hour and a half and you're nice pretty close. Now, remember, this is not on this list, but it could be. Sanaa is also at Animal Kingdom Lodge over in Kidani Village. That's an incredible restaurant, you guys. Again, a little bit more exotic. Not necessarily a date night location, but a great view of the animals on the savannah, at least when they're done doing this construction they're working on right now. Really great food, consistently good food. Definitely worth going to. And this is a good one if you want sort of that exotic flavor, but you do have kids with you, because Jiko does serve kids. That's no problem. But that's more of an expensive signature meal that may be better for a date night, but Sanaa is going to be perfect for the whole family. So definitely check that out as well. All right, let's move on to Topolino's Terrace. This is one of the newest signature dining restaurants at Disney World. Topolino's is a rooftop restaurant. It's going to feature signature dining, meaning fancy dining for dinner, and a prefixed character breakfast as well. The view here is one of those standout features. At dinner, you can actually get a view from above the hotel to see those fireworks at both Epcot and Hollywood Studios. Now, note, this is not destination viewing. Those fireworks are pretty far away. You're not going to see everything going on in the shows. So I wouldn't go there just to see the fireworks, but it is a nice benefit. And Topolino's Terrace is inspired by flavors of the Riviera, meaning you're going to get pastas, seafoods, fine wine, stuff like that for dinner. The name Topolino means Mickey Mouse in Italian, so it's fitting that the restaurant offers that character dining experience. We love that you get to see Mickey and Minnie and Donald and Daisy in their artisan outfits. They're dressed up as, let's see, Mickey's a painter, Minnie is a poetess, Donald is a sculptor, and Daisy is a dancer. For the character breakfast, you get to indulge in foods like sour cream waffles, quiche Gruyere, and of course, you get those autographs and interaction with Mickey and the gang. Take note of those outfits. They're super unique to the restaurant, and you can actually find plush dolls wearing them throughout the resort to buy, of course. Now, this is a great restaurant. It's a little expensive, but it is a good kind of destination dining experience, especially for a character meal. Remember that it's going to be served a la carte. You're not going to have to get up and go to a buffet, so that's a really nice benefit at a character meal. And again, it's a little high end, so if you're looking for something that's out of the ordinary, something special for your family to experience, this might be the right place to go. All right, Morimoto Asia, you guys knew this would be in here, one of my favorites. It's definitely one of our favorites in Disney Springs, if not all of Disney World. It's got an upscale vibe, offers Asian food that's accessible to everybody. Wagyu beef and Peking duck here are some of my favorites. Morimoto's lunch menu offers a lot of the same items and only requires 1 table service credit, so that's a huge tip, you guys. The menus are very, very similar for lunch and dinner here, but dinner is going to cost you 2 Disney Dining Plan table service credits, while lunch is only going to cost you 1. At least that's the situation right now. So if you're going to go to Morimoto Asia, maybe lunch is a better option for you from a budget perspective. Overall, this is going to be a great date night spot. The space is stunning. The menu is full of standout dishes. The only thing I wouldn't highly recommend here is dessert. They do have some churros and a giant sundae, but they're not necessarily excellent, and there are much better dessert options to be found around Disney Springs and around Disney World. Also, if you're looking for something a little bit more budget friendly, you don't have time for a sit-down meal, check out Morimoto Asia's to-go window. It's called Morimoto Street Food. Lots of great dishes, including the famous ribs that you can get inside the restaurant. You can also get them at the street food window, and ramen and other great Japanese street food options. Really, really yummy. All right, the next 2 we're going to talk about aren't sit-down table service restaurants, but they are lounges where you're going to be served. So you don't have to worry about not having food options here. They definitely have food options. The first is Nomad Lounge. This one is one of our absolute favorites. You guys know we've talked about it on the channel before. It's tucked away in Animal Kingdom near the entrance to Pandora. It's attached to Tiffin's, but you're going to veer left instead of entering the restaurant directly. There's both indoor and outdoor seating here, but even on the hottest days, their back patio is a nice place to get out of the park craziness for a minute. The menu's a bit eclectic here, some exotic flavors, of course, because you're over there in Animal Kingdom. You'll find some more accessible options, though, like sliders and poutine. Now, the poutine swaps out quite a bit. We've enjoyed all the versions that we've tried there. But don't worry if you have a picky eater, they do have French fries, obviously, if they have poutine, so you don't have to get the stuff on top. Just ask for a serving of French fries. You'll be well taken care of. They also have rice bowls, charcuterie boards, and other awesome stuff. You can also order off the full Tiffin's menu from time to time. We have been offered the full Tiffin's menu on our recent visits, but this may not always be the case, so be sure to ask your cast member. And if it's not, you can still get the Tiffin's bread service, which is delicious, along with the other small plates on the Nomad Lounge menu. Cocktails here can be a bit adventurous, like the Night Monkey with that coffee and guava mixed together, but there's plenty of lounge exclusive choices to pick from. Enchanted Rose is a brand new addition to Walt Disney World. This was the old Meisner's Lounge in Grand Floridian, was transformed into the Enchanted Rose Lounge, so there's tons more seating, 3 full rooms, and a gorgeous and subtle Beauty and the Beast themed design. This is the perfect spot to grab a light bite, slip away from the Magic Kingdom for a bit. Remember, it doesn't open till late afternoon though, so you're not going to get that for lunch. You're going to have to go kind of 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock time frame. And it's also a great place to grab a drink before dinner at the Grand Floridian. Definitely a bit more upscale, but kids are totally welcome here, and the menu has a few family-friendly options like truffle fries and short rib sliders, though you can get caviar here if that's more your thing. The cocktail menu boasts some really delicious and thoughtful concoctions, even includes 2 table service cocktails, which is super fun. They're called Love and Envy, and your cast member will roll out a bar cart to your table, prepare the cocktail right in front of you while telling a story of how the theme relates to the Beauty and the Beast as they add each ingredient. These are really unique drinks, super fun. You're not going to find them anywhere else, and we love that interaction with the cast members. It's super fun. Overall, this lounge is elegant, grand, manages to hit the theme perfectly without seeming too over the top or cartoony, and the menu is a perfect complement to that fancy night out. All right, let's head over to Be Our Guest Restaurant. We've got to stick this one in here. There's pros and cons to it though, you guys. It's not all great. So Be Our Guest is available for counter service breakfast and counter service lunch, but it is a table service dinner, so that's something important to note. Now, the restaurant takes you inside the Beast's castle from Beauty and the Beast, so you're not going to see inside that restaurant unless you're dining there. That's why it's so hard to get a reservation here. Everyone wants to see inside. And there are themed rooms, including the ballroom, the Rose Gallery, and that awesome West Wing where the Beast has ripped up all of the portraits and the tapestries and the enchanted roses there dropping its petals. It's super cool. Now, due to its immense popularity, this restaurant takes advanced dining reservations up to 180 days in advance, and they go super, super fast. Breakfast and lunch are unique at Be Our Guest in that they are counter service meals that you can make an advanced dining reservation for. That doesn't happen very often. But you definitely want to make that dining reservation because, again, these meals go quickly. Then for lunch, guests can pre-order their meals on the My Disney Experience app within 30 days of their dining date. Or if you choose not to, you can always use a touchscreen terminal when you get there to customize your final meal. For dinner, the meals are pre-fixed and guests will be seated and served as in other Disney table service restaurants. And remember, dinner also offers the opportunity to meet the Beast. So you're not going to meet the Beast at breakfast or lunch, but you can meet him at dinner, which is another reason why dinner at Be Our Guest is so critical for a lot of people. They definitely want to meet the Beast. Now, what should you do, breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Well, dinner is a little bit overpriced, but it is a nice experience. So if you want to do dinner, go for it, but it's going to be a much harder reservation to get. Breakfast and lunch, those counter service meals, easier reservations to get. Breakfast is incredibly overpriced at $29 a person. That's insane. So if you're not dining with a Disney dining plan counter service credit, it's not worth the out-of-pocket cost unless you're dying to see inside the Beast's castle. So if you really have to see inside the Beast's castle, all you can get is breakfast and you don't have the dining plan, go for it, man. Pay your $29, but know that it's going to be overpriced and that the food's not going to be awesome. Lunch is the sweet spot here. Lunch is good food, decent pricing. You get to see inside the castle, so you get all of those benefits without kind of paying through the nose to get that food. So lunch, I would say go for it. It's also a good use of a counter service credit. If you're on the dining plan, then lunch is definitely a good use of a counter service credit here. But breakfast is highway robbery. You don't even want to eat there unless you have a dining plan credit, honestly. That's my, go-to, but I break my own rules all the time. So that's just our thinking on where the sweet spot is with Be Our Guest. Now I'm going to throw this restaurant in here really quick. Up Rodeo BBQ at Hollywood Studios. Not open yet, but it's coming in the later half probably of 2020. It's going to be another immersive dining experience. Toy Story Land theming. It's going to be in Toy Story Land. It's going to be a sit-down meal. And we're super excited that it's coming because Toy Story Land really does need a sit-down meal. So you're going to have that Toy Story Land theming surrounded by giant toys and things like that. And again, it's going to be a barbecue restaurant. Now, this is a totally different theme from Be Our Guest, but we still do think that this is going to be one of those restaurants that's going to be hard to get a reservation for. So pay attention to Disney Food Blog, join our newsletter. We'll let you know when reservations open up for Up Rodeo BBQ. All right, next up, let's talk Ohana. This one's in the Polynesian Village Resort. It is a guest favorite for lots of people, and it has been for many, many years. Still hard to get a reservation here for breakfast and dinner. Breakfast is going to be a character meal, and you're going to meet Lilo, Stitch, Mickey, and Pluto dressed in their Hawaiian finest. You're going to be served an all-you-can-eat American breakfast influenced by the tastes of Polynesia. Hawaiian pork sausages, island-style potatoes, pineapple bread, stuff like that. But you do get Mickey waffles. Actually, I think you get Stitch waffles here, and fruits and things like that. Now, this is an all-you-care-to-eat breakfast, so they're going to bring your food family style to your table, which means you are at a character meal. You don't have to get up and go to a buffet. It's all coming to you. You can get as much as you want, so that's awesome. I also really, really love the view from Ohana. You're looking out over Seven Seas Lagoon at the castle, so it's a really nice way to sort of start your vacation. Maybe you go there before you go to the Magic Kingdom that day or something like that. It's a really fun kind of anticipatory way to say, hey, we're finally at Disney World. Our vacation is beginning. So I love Ohana for that reason as well. Now, for dinner, they offer a Hawaiian-style churrascaria type service where you indulge in that all-you-can-eat feast of grilled meats and Hawaiian specialty sides. You're going to get pork loin skewers, turkey skewers, sirloin steak skewers, and marinated shrimp skewers, and the side dishes include stir-fried veggies, fried dumplings, lo mein noodles, and a salad starter. Now, my favorite thing about Ohana is going to be the dessert here at this dinner. It is a bananas Foster bread pudding. It is unbelievable. It's so good, and it's good all the time. That's the thing with Ohana. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not as far as the actual dinner meal. Occasionally the service is too rushed or too slow. Sometimes the meat is overcooked. It's just not very good. The appetizers are usually pretty good as a general rule, and the dessert is always spectacular. So if that's good enough for you, it's good enough for me. I go all the time. I really enjoy it. But I will say that there is that inconsistent piece where you're never quite sure how your service is going to be. You're never quite sure how your meats are going to be. But for me, it's still worth the risk, and I still like to go. Now, another benefit of Ohana is that they do have games and stuff for the kids. So every 10-15 minutes or so, they're going to do kind of a little entertainment situation. Some of those will be where they do coconut races with the kids or hula hoop contests, stuff like that. So that's kind of fun, and they do that at both breakfast and dinner. All right, moving on to Garden Grill, another one of my favorites. I feel like you guys know which ones are my favorites at this point if you're a subscriber to DFP Guide. And what's funny is that they're consistently my favorites. I go back to these restaurants all the time, you guys. We try to visit all the restaurants consistently, once a year, once every couple of years, just to check it out, make sure things are still, recommended, not recommended, what's different, what's new. Garden Grill is always good. The service is always excellent. The characters are always perfect. You see the characters a million times. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, Garden Grill. It's in Epcot in Future World. And this is another character meal. You're going to meet Mickey, Pluto, Chip, and Dale at this one. The food is family style, served for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, served on platters, all you care to eat feast. And the really fun thing about Garden Grill is that the restaurant rotates. It's actually on a rotating platform that'll take you through several scenes from the Livin' with the Land ride below. Now, don't worry if you have motion sickness or something that goes really, really slow. You're not going to be, you shouldn't be concerned about that at all. But it is fun because you kind of get to go through each scene of the Livin' with the Land ride, which is awesome. And speaking of Livin' with the Land, you'll actually be served food that has been grown or created there in the Land Pavilion. So if you've ridden that ride or taken the behind the scenes tour, you're going to be served food that's actually growing down there where you can see. So it's really cool. Now, the thing I love about the characters here is that this is a really small restaurant, which means you get to see the characters over and over and over again. On my last probably 3 trips to Garden Grill, we've seen those characters 3 or 4 times, and we've dined there at all different times. So I don't feel like we were just there at a slow time. It's just pretty regular that they come around multiple times, which if you go to Chef Mickey's, you're going to see those characters like once, maybe once and a half. Like you're not going to see them very often. But here, the characters are just there all the time. It's so much fun. And the food is really good. The food is consistently good at Garden Grill. Okay, you guys have heard me talk about it before, so I'll stop talking about it now. All right, California Grill. California Grill at Disney's Contemporary Resort is a fine dining experience. It's been a consistent favorite for diners since the early days of Disney. It's gotten lots of awards. Classic famous Disney chefs have worked here and formed this restaurant, so it's really, really well done as a general rule. Now, when you get there, guests check in for the California Grill on the 2nd floor of the Contemporary and are escorted to the restaurant by private elevator. Now, the menu's definitely on the pricey side. This is a signature meal. But if you have cause for celebration or just want some really great food, California Grill is a nice date night pick. And aside from the food, the element that makes California Grill special is those Magic Kingdom fireworks. You do get to watch the fireworks from atop the Contemporary Resort. It's a great view. And the best part is that regardless of your reservation time, guests of the California Grill are welcome to use the restaurant's outdoor viewing areas to watch Happily Ever After on the evening they're scheduled to dine at the restaurant. So whether you've eaten there that night yet or not, you can go up and watch the fireworks when it's fireworks time. So definitely keep your receipt if you've eaten there and go back up and watch the fireworks, or note your reservation time if the fireworks are before your dining time. Now, reservations do go fast for this restaurant, but it's worth noting that guests are served meals at the bar and in the lounge on a first-come, first-served basis. So you can get a delicious California Grill meal without a reservation. Just show up at the podium on the Contemporary Resort's 2nd floor, let them know you'd like to dine at the bar. It is first-come, first-served. You may not get in, but it's always worth a shot. Now, California Grill for me has been usually pretty good. I have had a couple experiences where the service hasn't been great and the food hasn't been awesome, but usually this is going to be a pretty decent experience. So I can recommend heading over there. All right, so there are our must-do restaurants in Disney World for 2020. Some new, some old, some making their way onto the list for the first time, but we definitely wanted you guys to know, those of you who are planning your first trip or planning your trip of the year, we want to make sure you're dining at the best possible locations. Thanks for listening, you guys, and thanks for watching. We'd love to have you subscribe to our channel. We do publish about 4 times a week right now, so sign up for that notification bell so you can see in your email when we publish a video. This is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.